Today we are going to be talking about graphing rotations. So a rotation is another type of transformation, like a translation or reflection that we learned about last day. It's obviously a little bit different though. So a rotation turns a shape about a point of rotation. So the rotation may be clockwise or counterclockwise. Now, I often have students that struggle with this, so I have given you a little diagram here. Clockwise moves the same way that the hands on the clock do, so they move in this direction here. We can also move counterclockwise, which goes the opposite direction. Now, counterclockwise is sometimes also referred to as anti-clockwise. So just know that our textbook or our questions will all use the word counter, but it is a good piece of information to know as well. So the point of rotation may be on the shape or off the shape. So I have an example of each here. So here we have taken and used this point here on this corner of our triangle to rotate. And in this situation here, our point of rotation is actually outside of our shape and we have moved it. Now I have two different methods on your notes here for how to graph rotations. Now, if we were in class together, we would try both ways and I'd let you guys choose the one that you like better. However, given everything and the craziness of our world right now, I am going to focus on the second one. Now, the reason why is because method one requires tracing paper. And I really don't know how many of you guys are going to have tracing paper at home. I know I don't have tracing paper at home. So if you have it and you'd like to try it out, I've still left it here for your information. The steps are pretty good. You can follow along. And so it'll show you how to rotate using tracing paper. But what we are going to do together in this video is we are going to use method two, which is a little bit different, but we will need a straight edge. So whether that's the ruler or a triangle out of your geometry set, and your protractor. So that is your half circle that we measure degrees or measure angles in. You'll need both of those for this. So my example here asks us to plot the following points and connect them to create a shape. So I have 3 points there. I hope that we all know that that's going to create a triangle. So I'm going to draw this along with you. Please forgive me because it may not be pretty. So point 2, 3. Now remember the 2 is my x-axis. It comes first, and then I'm going to go up to 3. That's going to be point A. Point B is at 6, positive 5. Oof. And point C is at 8 and positive 1. So we should have this shape here. And I am going to cheat a little bit with connecting my lines to draw my triangle. You guys have a straight edge. I'm going to use the line tool. Now, it asks us to rotate this shape 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. So there's a couple pieces of information here that are going to be important. Things that are helpful, take out that highlighter. So 90 degrees clockwise is going to be important. That's how far we're moving and in what direction. And we're going about the origin. So you guys should remember from our past units that our origin is this point right here at 0, 0. So we're going to rotate around this point. So I have some steps for you there at the bottom, so I apologize. I'm going to be doing a little bit of scrolling here. So the first thing we're going to do is mark the point of rotation on the grid. I did that. It is right here so that we can see it. I did it in red. The second one, using a ruler, draw a line from each vertex to the point of rotation. So one thing that might help you with this is actually by using different colors when you're drawing your lines. I find it's often helpful, especially as we're first learning this. So what we're going to do, I'm not sure why it's being stubborn, is I'm going to draw a line from point A to my rotation, from point B to my rotation, and from point C to my rotation. So I kind of am making a 3D shape, it almost looks like, and I'm going to draw each of those lines. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is use a protractor to mark 90 degrees. So I'm going to choose my point A. Now, this doesn't always work super nicely, so you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to use my protractor. I'm going to line up that center piece, and I'm going to spin my protractor so that it lines up with my A line. So you'll see my baseline here is lined up with that blue A. And what I'm going to do is, with a blue pen, I'm going to mark 90 degrees. Now, if I was a spot, so right there. Now, if I was doing a different measurement, so say I was only moving it 60 degrees, I would do this to the 60 here instead of the 90. But I'm moving 90, so that's what I'm going to move it with. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do this for each one of these. And this is why I say it's helpful sometimes to use different colors or maybe highlight your answers in different colors just to stay organized. So here I'm going to line it up with my B, and I'm going to use a green pen to mark out 90. And then last but not least, I'm going to line up with my C and use my purple pen to mark out 90. Oh, that was not very good. Let me try that one again. Oh, maybe not. All right, so once I have that, I can get rid of my protractor. I'm not going to need it again. So I'm going to move that out of the way. The next thing we need to do is we need to actually take out a ruler. So what we're going to do is we are going to be measuring each one of these lines for how long they are. Now, this is going to look kind of silly for me because it is kind of awkward, but to do this with a smart tool on the smart board. But what we're going to do is we're going to line up our A, and I'm going to measure it. So I'm going to say that my A is 3 centimeters long, that blue line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my ruler up with that same 90-degree point that I used with my protractor. And using a blue line, I'm going to draw a length exact same, so exactly 3 centimeters, which is the same that I had there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this for each one of my lines. I'm going to measure how long they are, and then I'm going to recreate that towards my appropriate colored dot. So my B, or my green line, is, I would say, 6.4 centimeters. So I'm going to move my ruler and draw a line that is 6.4 centimeters. And my last one here is the purple one, and I'm going to say that it is 6.6. So towards the purple dot, I'm going to go 6.6. Now, if you are being very, very precise, each one of these is going to show up at a cross, or at a grid point. So the blue one shows up at a grid point. This green one's pretty close. And I'm going to get my ruler out of the way here. I don't need it anymore. And so they're all pretty close. The more accurate you are with your measurements, the closer you're going to be. Once you have those, you are actually going to connect those 3 end lines using your straight edge. So I'm going to go back to using a black line for this. So I'm going to, now you're not doing it to your dots, you're doing it the ends of your lines. And so I'm going to connect them all. And so here I have rotated my triangle ABC, and is going to show up over here. Now, this is definitely more complicated than reflections and more complicated than translations. This is going to take some practice. I suggest doing a few examples and having this video so that you can practice and do it alongside me a few different times, because it is a little bit more challenging to do. So there are some practice questions for you. Some of them are just identifying the amount of rotation. There are some where it's asking you to rotate. Please try both. If you're really struggling, we can set up, maybe this is a good one to have a live video chat with just grade 7s, where we can do some examples, or I can walk you through some more examples. Let me know if you're having problems. Send me an email, send me a private message on Google Classroom, and we can figure it out.